When you're born into a fire, let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it to the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house.
What is good? It is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for this week's AEW Dynamite and NXT Preview. This is the Wrestling with Fans podcast, a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. Today is March the 3rd, 2021. Let's get all the lights back up in here. I need like one switch to bring everything up at once. That would make my life so much easier, but I don't. One day, maybe one day. What is good? If you're joining live here in the chat on Facebook, give the stream big old thumbs up. Comment. Let me know what you guys think. And I realize my one little transition is not working, so I've got to find it real quick. But while we do that, let me bring this up for you guys. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 nights a week, we are live here on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. Every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern, you can join us here for our Monday Night Raw preview. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, it's the live recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Wednesdays, like tonight, 7:30 to 8, for the AEW Dynamite and NXT Preview show. And then again on Fridays from 7:30 to 8 for our SmackDown preview. Follow us across social media. Check out our website, wrestlingwithfans.com. Like us on Facebook. Hawk smash that like button over at facebook.com/wrestlingwithfans. You already know about the YouTube channel because you're watching live. These don't go up in audio form. These are exclusive to YouTube. So if you're checking this video out later, make sure you click that subscribe button. Follow the show on Instagram. Go over to the gram and search Wrestling with Fans. You'll be able to find us over there. Just you see the little blue logo. Take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast listening device. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. And we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com if you've got questions, topics you want us to cover for an upcoming stream. Shoot us an email over there. And guys, we've got a jam-packed show tonight because there is a ton of stuff planned for both Dynamite and for NXT. What we're going to do is we're going to start with NXT tonight because Dynamite does have a pay-per-view coming up. So we're going to preview that at the very, very end, the last couple minutes of the show. I talked about it briefly last night on the podcast stream. By the way, links to everything I was just talking about is down in the video description below. Find links to the Facebook page, the Instagram, our website, links to find the audio show, And if you want to support the show, you can get yourself a Wrestling with Fans podcast tee like the one that I'm wearing right now with our fancy blue logo on it. I also have shirts with the Married with Children inspired logo. And my personal favorite, shout out to Nia Jax, the hashtag My Whole t-shirt. All available at the Wrestling with Fans Teespring. We're on Spreadshirt, our Spreadshirt store. Find links for that down in the description below. So let's start with NXT, guys. There's a big news story I'm going to touch on here in a few minutes as well. First and foremost, we do have a title match scheduled for tonight on NXT. The women's tag team champions, the aforementioned Nia Jax and her partner, the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler, will take on the winners of the inaugural Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzales. Super excited for this match. This is the official preview from WWE.com. After winning the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Raquel Gonzales and Dakota Kai might not be done making history quite yet. They'll look to bring the WWE Women's Tag Team titles to NXT when they challenge Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler next Wednesday night. Gonzales and Kai have been a force to be reckoned with since linking up a year ago, then proved their bona fides on a new level with their run through the inaugural women's tournament. They were especially impressive in taking out Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon in their finals victory at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Celebrated alumni of the Black and Gold brand themselves, Jax and Baszler are one of the most physically dominant duos in WWE history. Will their NXT homecoming be triumphant or nightmarish? As much as I would love to see Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzales capture the women's titles, what is up, DJ? Glad to have you in the chat either way, friend. I don't think Shayna and I are going to lose tonight. I think they're going to retain. Again, I'd love to see something change up with the women's tag team titles. Lana and Naomi are still owed a women's tag team title match that they haven't gotten yet. So maybe they'll face the winners of this match at Fastlane or maybe even WrestleMania. We also have another big tag team match scheduled for tonight. The NXT Tag Team Champions, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, will face the team of Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. However, it will be in a non-title match. Now, Lorcan and Burch were originally set to defend the titles against the male Dusty Cup winners, MSK. But the grizzled young veterans viciously ambushed MSK last week, however, putting Wes Lee out of action with a broken hand and derailing MSK's title opportunity. Confronting Nash Carter and Lee at the Capitol Wrestling Center, Lorcan and Burch called the injury a blessing in disguise. The Blackheart, Tommaso Ciampa, overheard the champion's trash talk, and his interest was piqued. So even though Thatcher and Ciampa did not make it out of the Dusty Classic tournament, they are going to get a chance, a little personal retribution against the NXT Tag Team Champions, Burch and Lorcan. I love Tommaso Ciampa. He is one of my all-time favorites in NXT. I'm really starting to be won over by Timothy Thatcher, but Burch and Lorcan are just one of the best tag teams in all of wrestling today. And they're going to retain, and I know they'll set up a good match with MSK somewhere down the line. Also, The Way is headed to therapy tonight. The Way, of course, consisting of North American champion Johnny Gargano, his wife Candice LeRae, Austin Theory, and Indy Hartwell. This is from WWE.com. Fed up with Austin Theory's empathy for Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano has pledged for The Way to attend therapy tonight on NXT. Lumis has tormented The Way for weeks now, most recently with the pivotal victory over the North American champion last week. But perhaps even more distressing for Gargano than the loss was Theory refusing to lend a hand to help him win. So it'll be interesting to see. Candice and Johnny have done some really good stuff in their comedy acts on NXT. Some of the stuff they've done at their home and filmed has been really funny. I really enjoyed it. So I would imagine tonight will be no different. It may not be, Daniel Bryan and Kane therapy sessions or the Bailey and Sasha stuff, but I expect it to be, right up there with it. Should be really good. And finally, the last thing we have for NXT, the debut of LA Knight. Now, LA Knight, for those that aren't aware, is former Impact Wrestling star Eli Drake. He tweeted earlier this afternoon, LA Knight in an NXT ring live on USA, question mark, question mark. Don't mind if I do. So it'll be really exciting to see LA Knight make his debut tonight on NXT. We're looking forward to it. He's great on the microphone, so I would imagine this should be a pretty fire promo. May even get interrupted by someone. I don't know who they'd put maybe as a first feud for LA Knight off the jump. Maybe a Cameron Grimes. Straight to the moon. He's got all that stonk money. Awesome stuff. Really excited for NXT tonight. But the other big news that's coming out, again, I talked about this last night on the podcast. According, I don't have the exact report here in front of me, but this person reported that according to their reliable sources, an announcement is forthcoming for NXT to move nights, probably to Tuesday night, starting on Tuesday, April the 13th. So a little over a month away, NXT will be moving nights according to this report. Now, I've seen some things where it's like, oh, AEW's won the Wednesday Night War, yada, yada, yada. You know who wins in all of this? The fans. I've said this quite a bit here on the podcast that having Dynamite and NXT on the same night just hurts the fans because you're forcing them to choose. And I think that's very detrimental to both shows because when each show has been preempted for the other. So if like Wednesday night, Dynamite is preempted, NXT's numbers go up. When NXT moves to another night, Dynamite's numbers go up. So both companies win here because I think a lot of the fan base for both products is the same. The wrestling style is very similar. It's kind of has that indie-rific style to both shows. And I think it will only benefit NXT and Dynamite in the long run. I think if NXT does move to Tuesdays, you'll see their numbers probably go up a little bit. And Dynamite could potentially get to an average of 1 million viewers every week. Because I know there's a lot of nights where I watch NXT over Dynamite just because I've been an NXT fan since its inception. I have enjoyed Dynamite a lot more recently. I was very critical of them last year. But I'd love to be able to have 4 nights of wrestling. Now, the only thing that would be detrimental for me personally is I would not do the podcast Tuesday nights opposite NXT. I'll probably move the show to Thursday and then schedule the podcast to go out maybe Fridays or Saturdays in audio form. So that would be the only thing that I wouldn't enjoy because I do kind of like the Tuesday nights, but that means we'd be streaming 5 nights a week here on YouTube. More streaming is a lot of fun. DJ says I might watch it if it's on moves to Tuesday. DJ, I think if you like the WWE product, I would highly recommend checking out NXT. I would highly recommend checking out AEW. Both shows are pretty good. Dynamite does have several former WWE talents, which one of them is going to be making his debut tonight on Dynamite. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute. So again, big card set for NXT and the potential announcement forthcoming that they will be moving to Tuesday nights starting in April. All right, now let's switch over to AEW Dynamite. Dynamite once again has a jam-packed card for tonight. Really looking forward to this. But it's going to be tough to not watch NXT because there's several matches and things I want. I want to see the therapy session. I want to see LA Knight debut. I want to see both tag matches, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of other things going on in NXT tonight. It'll be hard because I really don't know anyone. That's okay. For either show. Like I said, Dynamite does have several former WWE stars. Cody Rhodes, Matt Hardy, to name a couple. And the first thing we're going to talk about, it's a great segue. The first thing we're going to talk about, making his AEW debut tonight. The man formerly known as The Big Show, Paul Wight, after shocking the wrestling world a little over a week ago, he will be making his AEW Dynamite debut tonight from Daly's Place. He will be speaking to the world, and it should be good. I'm really looking forward to hearing what Paul Wight has to say. It's really going to be hard. It's going to be difficult to start calling him Paul Wight now as opposed to The Big Show. He's been The Big Show for 22 years. I talked about this on last week's show. The Big Show, Paul Wight, made his debut for WWE February 14th, 1999 at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view. So he's been with WWE for 21 years. He was there just over 21 years. He also had several years before that in WCW, and now he is moving on to AEW, one of the few superstars who will have wrestled for all three major U.S. wrestling promotions. As far as I know, the only other two currently are Chris Jericho, who started in WCW, went to WWE for a long time, and now is in AEW, and also the man they call Sting. Sting was a WCW standout for many, many years. And actually, we could even make it 4. And if you want to add the 4th one, you can include like TNA/Impact Wrestling. Because then you have the likes of Matt Hardy, Sting. They've all been in TNA as well. We'll have to, maybe I'll make that a list. The wrestlers that have wrestled for all the big promotions in the world. Be interesting. But Paul Wight will be speaking tonight on Dynamite in his AEW debut. But not to be outshadowed, tonight is the night we finally get the match they have been building for months. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes will be teaming with Red Velvet, with Arn Anderson, Double A the Enforcer in their corner to take on the team of Jade Cargill and Shaquille O'Neal. That's right, guys. We're getting Shaq in the ring tonight on Dynamite, and that show starts in about 12 minutes. Really excited to see how they play this out. I'm sure it'll be very gimmicky, but Shaq has a huge following. He's been a wrestling fan his entire life. He's made several appearances in WWE. The real question is, will we get to see Shaq go face-to-face with Paul Wight? Now, if you remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, there was a lot of rumors going around that we were going to get a WrestleMania match between Big Show and Shaquille O'Neal. It never came to fruition, but now both gentlemen are involved with All Elite Wrestling. Will we see this match down the road somewhere? I hope so. I would love to see that match take place. We also have the finals for the AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Nyla Rose taking on Ryo Mizunami. Should be a pretty fire match. A lot of people were predicting Britt Baker to make it to the end to face Ryo. That is not the case. It is Nyla Rose. I expect Ryo Mizunami to get the win here, to go on to face Hikaru Shida. I think that match will take place at Revolution this Sunday. I don't know why they would bring Ryo over from Japan. only to have her work, one match. So I'll fully expect her to win and then go on to face Hikaru Shida this Sunday at Revolution. We're going to talk about Revolution here in a few minutes. But there's more. We have a tag match. Hangman Adam Page and my favorite wrestler in AEW, John Silver, taking on Mark Quinn and Big Money Matt Hardy in a tag team match. They've had a lot of story going on with Matt Hardy and Hangman Page recently. They've got a match coming up at Revolution. John Silver and the Dark Order have been pining to get Hangman Page to join the Dark Order for months. And a lot of that does take place on Being the Elite. If you don't watch Being the Elite, you're missing out. It's one of the best things on YouTube every Monday over on the official AEW YouTube channel. We also get Face of the Revolution ladder match qualifier. So this Sunday at Revolution, there is the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future AEW title match. Tonight on Dynamite, you'll get Dark Order's 10, Preston Vance, taking on Max Caster. The winner of that will qualify for the match. Should be pretty good. Now, Max Caster, that name does not sound familiar. His face will probably look familiar, and I wish I would have pulled the picture up ahead of time. I don't want to stop where I'm at now and go get it, but Max Caster, if you remember last year, the whole Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley storyline, where Sami brought in Bobby's sisters, Max Caster played one of Bobby Lashley's sisters in that skit. Now he is over on Dynamite. And finally, we have a Revolution press conference by the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Should be entertaining as hell. Anything that Jericho and MJF do is just gold. And last but certainly not least, wrestling for the first time, I believe, in 30 years, over 30 years, one of the Four Horsemen, Tully Blanchard, the coach of FTR, will be teaming up in six-man action against Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, otherwise known as Jurassic Express. Tully hasn't wrestled in over 30 years, so it'll be really interesting to see how much physicality he gets to in the ring. I would fully expect FTR to maybe work over Marco Stunt at one point and kind of isolate him in the corner and then let Tully come in and work over Marco Stunt, since Marco Stunt really is only about 5 foot, maybe 5'1" at best. But it should be entertaining. I'm not a huge fan of Marco Stunt, but I love Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And of course, FTR, who some of you may remember as the Revival from their run in WWE. So full packed card. Again, you got the Jericho MJF press conference, Paul Wight making his AEW debut, Dark Order's 10 taking on Max Caster in the Face of the Revolution ladder match qualifier, Hangman Page and John Silver versus Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn, FTR and Tully versus the Jurassic Express, the Women's Championship Eliminator Tournament, Nyla Rose versus Ryo Mizunami, and the big match, I'm guessing it's going to main event tonight. They may lead off with it, but I'm guessing it's going to main event. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes teaming with Red Velvet to take on Jade Cargill and Shaquille O'Neal. Dynamite should be a fire show tonight. NXT is going to be a great show, but they are up against really stiff competition. Either way, in about 6 minutes, we're going to have the best night in wrestling. And if the news about NXT moving nights is true, we won't be able to say that much longer. But for now, Wednesday nights, I'll drink to that, is the best night in professional wrestling. So we're going to spend these last 6 minutes. So we got several people in here in the chat. Give the stream a thumbs up if you would, if you're enjoying the stream here. And leave me a comment. We got DJ in here commenting. Like I said, DJ, if you've got the time tonight, I would check out Dynamite over NXT. I think it'll be a better show, but I would recommend watching both. If you've never seen either one, I would maybe spend a few minutes to check out both shows. I think you'll be entertained. A lot more than you will on Mondays and Fridays. I guarantee that. So finally, I know this is our Wednesday night preview. We're going to spend the last couple minutes here talking about AEW's upcoming pay-per-view. I touched on it briefly on last night's recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. We spent most of the time talking about Raw and Bobby Lashley winning the WWE title. So I want to make sure I give Revolution a little bit of time here at the end. It's going to take place this Sunday, March 7th from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Got eight big matches announced. We've got a tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, taking on Chris Jericho and MJF from the Inner Circle. It's hard to see how this one's going to play out. I can see the Young Bucks retaining, but I can also see Jericho and MJF winning the belts and just becoming these obnoxious heels, which they're both really good at. And this will eventually lead to, and I think what a lot of people are thinking is eventually MJF is going to assume the leadership role in the Inner Circle and have Chris Jericho booted. And having this be about the tag titles will be a good way to kick that off and play that storyline out. They also have Team Taz, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, taking on the TNT champion Darby Allin and the Icon Sting in a street fight. This is Sting's first match in, I believe, 5 years. His last match was was for, I think, the WWE Championship against Seth Rollins when that buckle bomb that we all thought ended Sting's career, but it seems he's got a new lease on his wrestling life. We'll also see a match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Hikaru Shida will defend against the winner of tonight's match, Nyla Rose or Ryo Mizunami. Again, I think it's going to be Shida versus Mizunami, and I fully see Hikaru Shida retaining this coming Sunday. Then you have the big money match, where the winner will receive the loser's 2021 first quarter earnings. Hangman Adam Page taking on big money Matt Hardy. Let me go and switch my TV over to TNT to get ready for Dynamite tonight, because I'm going to start with Dynamite. We'll see what they open with. You also have the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future AEW TNT title match. I have Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta El Zero Miedo, Pentagon Jr., Lance Archer, and then either Preston Vance or Max Caster, and an opponent to be announced. Again, I talked about this last night. Rumor is it's going to be someone making their AEW debut. So it should be interesting to see who that's going to be. You have Miro, formerly known as Rusev, and his partner Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford taking on the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. And then you have the Casino Tag Team Battle Royale for a future AEW World Tag Team title match. You'll have the teams of Bear Country, Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson of the Dark Order, Santana and Ortiz from the Inner Circle, the Butcher and the Blade, Private Party, Top Flight, and another team to be announced. Again, the other rumor is we're going to get another debuting team at Revolution this weekend. And finally, in an exploding barbed wire death match, AEW World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega will defend against Jon Moxley. Mox is probably going to take time off. His wife is pregnant. Renee Paquette, excuse me. She's going by Renee Paquette now. She's pregnant. Is due to give birth sometime soon to their first child together. So the rumor is he's going to be taking time off. So I expect Kenny Omega to retain and move on from there. Guys, the best night in wrestling is about to start. Dynamite and NXT are on. Let me go and set it to USA so I can flip back if I need to. Hope you guys enjoy. Wednesday Night Wrestling, because the Wednesday Night Wars may be coming to an end very, very soon. We'll see what happens. But don't forget, come back on Friday, where I'll be streaming live here 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our SmackDown preview. Come back on Monday from 7:30 to 8 for a Monday Night Raw preview. Tuesdays, 8 to 9 for the live recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Right here, all exclusively to the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. And of course, WrestlingWithFans.com is the website. Like us on Facebook. Hulk smash that like button over Facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. If you're watching live or if you're checking the video out later on, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Looks like we are starting with the tag match. This is going to be pretty good. Follow us on Instagram. Just search Wrestling with Fans. You'll find our blue logo. Give us a follow. I'll follow everybody back that follows us. You can take us on the go. Download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Wherever you get your podcast fix, just search Wrestling with Fans podcast. And finally, I haven't plugged in a while, but I've added it into the mix. WWFshow@gmail.com. That's WWFshow@gmail.com. If you've got questions or topics and you can't join live, you can shoot us an email. We'll answer them on the air for the live stream. Just let me know which stream. Is it a Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, or just a general? In general, as I'll do during the regular podcast, but shoot us an email or join us live on the YouTube channel. We're starting with the tag match, guys. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all on Friday night. Enjoy tonight's wrestling. My name is Kyle. This has been Wrestling with Fans, and we'll see you next time.